Tera Roberts here with your Week 10 DFS Bargains. We've got a ton to cover, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. At quarterback, I'm not really sure why Carson Wentz pricing is so incredibly cheap, but I'll take it. 17 touchdowns, 3 interceptions this season. Perhaps it's their thriving run game or his average being brought down a little bit by a couple of bad games at the beginning of the season. But either way, Carson Wentz is statistically a QB1. And against the Jets on Sunday, Wentz completed 22 of 30 passes for 272 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's a fantastic option for DFS this week against the Jags. Moving on to running backs, Jordan Howard followed up his Week 8 2-touchdown performance with 17 carries for 71 yards and 1 touchdown against the Chargers. His snap count also increased, and yet again, Hurts threw for less than 20 attempts. We may not understand it, but the Eagles do have a preference for Jordan Howard. This week he's playing against Denver, who, despite the crazy game against Dallas last week, isn't particularly good against the run. He's got goal line upside and can pay off big time for you this week. Another option is in the Arizona backfield. With Chase Edmonds down, Eno Benjamin got involved last week with 9 carries for 39 yards and 1 touchdown. Make no mistake, James Conner is the lead back right now. But this is DFS Bargains, and James Conner is not a bargain, okay? So we're going with Eno Benjamin. Arizona does like to lean on multiple running backs, and it's very possible that they give opportunities to Benjamin. He won't get a ton of work, but he is cheap and has upside. Another option is Devin Singletary, and the reasoning is very simple. Zach Moss has a concussion. If Moss doesn't play, Singletary can be a steal this week at his current pricing. Last week, Singletary wasn't productive on the ground, but did catch 7 of 8 targets, and as the sole back in a game where the Bills are playing against the Jets, he can be a very solid bargain play for you. Another super simple reasoning with this next running back, D'Ernest Johnson is yet again the last man standing. All the other running backs have COVID, and if none of them, particularly Nick Chubb, can test negative before Sunday's game, we could get that same Week 7 D'Ernest Johnson. 22 carries, 146 yards, 1 touchdown, plus 2 receptions for 22 yards. So keep an eye out for what could be a huge bargain play with Johnson. Last week was not particularly good for JAMAL AGNEW in terms of statistics. 3 of 5 for 27 yards, plus 1 carry for 11 yards. But they played Buffalo, and none of them looked particularly good in that game, despite the Jags winning. But yet again, AGNEW served as the leader of the receiving corps. He had the most targets and yardage of any wide receiver on Sunday. In Week 8, he caught 6 of 12 targets. Week 7, 5 of 6. Week 6, 6 of 7. He's just very consistent, and his pricing does not reflect the way his role has changed. Last week, Zach Pascal caught 4 of 7 targets for 58 yards. Michael Pittman is truly the leader here, and this offense leans heavy on its fantastic run game. But this week against Jacksonville, Pascal can be a solid bargain play. Despite Josh Allen's horrible performance against Josh Allen, despite that, the 3 leading Buffalo receivers all saw a minimum of 8 targets against Jacksonville. The opportunity is there for Pascal. Chase Claypool left Sunday's game with an injury, and if he can't go, suddenly James Washington is the second receiving option in this Pittsburgh offense. Washington caught 1 of 3 targets for 1 big 42-yard play and had 2 carries for 13 yards. And quite frankly, he is dirt cheap in terms of his salary. So if any of these extra targets shift from Claypool over to James Washington's way, it won't take a lot for him to pay off big time for you. And at tight end, we will go back to the Steelers and go with Pat FREIERMUTH. I suspect his salary will be on the rise very soon because FREIERMUTH just keeps building on his performances every single week. He caught 5 of 6 targets for 43 yards and 2 touchdowns this week. At this point, he is the clear guy that is the clear lead tight end for Pittsburgh. And just like James Washington, he can be a beneficiary if Claypool is out this week. And that wraps up this week's DFS Bargains. Be sure to check out all of our fantastic DFS content, like this video, subscribe, and come back next week for another round of DFS Bargains.